We talked the big game of the weekend. How do Man City start their title defence for a possible record-breaking 5th season? Are you here we go or here we land? That's the question we have to ask. Can Adama Traore's muscles get any bigger? And is Cole Palmer going to cause problems for Manchester City this weekend? It's all coming up here. It's the weekend warm-up, and this is episode 1 for season 24-25. Let's get straight into it.
Gallo for Garnacho! Oh wow! Oh wow! Vinícius Júnior! Vini Malvadeza, que golaço! Belted in for the champions by Rodri! Palmer makes it 4! It's Xavi Simons! It's a belting goal!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Players Zone channel, and this is the weekend warm-up, our first episode for season 24-25, and it's match day 1, the Premier League, La Liga, Ligue 1 is back. We've got the German Super Cup coming this weekend as well. Football is finally back, and we can be very, very excited about that. The Premier League coming back tonight with Manchester United and Fulham. Obviously saw a few teams play in La Liga last night. We've got the big boys to come on the weekend as well. Don't forget the German Super Cup and the DFB Pokal games going on as well. It's a jam-packed weekend of football, and I'll be getting you guys right up to the speed of things with going through the big news, the big games, the big headlines as we go into the weekend's action. We're going to start at the top with some of the big storylines coming into the weekend, and it's going to be about the managers. We've got a lot of new managers around the major leagues. Thiago Motta at Juventus, Arne Slot at Liverpool, Enzo Maresca at Chelsea as well, Hansi Flick at FC Barcelona. How do the new managers fare coming into this season here? We've obviously seen the standard set by the likes of Ancelotti, Pep Guardiola in these big leads here as well, Inzaghi in Serie A, and it's going to be a tough challenge for these new managers to hit that level, and especially the likes of Arne Slot coming in and replacing a 9-year tenure for Jurgen Klopp, a tenure which was so successful, where the club won a plethora of trophies. They won every single trophy that was available to them. There was a formula, there was connection between the fans and the manager. And I think he's probably the one that's going to have the toughest time adjusting, coming across from the Eredivisie, which you've seen Erik ten Hag do previously, and do it to somewhat of success, but have struggled since moving to the Premier League. And it's going to be a big move for him. And Liverpool got a massive game. Obviously, get into the big games in a little bit, but they've got a massive game versus Ipswich, newly promoted side. Ipswich at home, a very tough place to go and play football. So he will have a massive game. And I feel like this season he will be successful. I predicted him to do quite well come the season's end with Liverpool. I expect them to be in the title race for some portion of the season. How long that lasts, that's sort of up to how well they can manage the side. But I feel like Liverpool will do well under Arne Slot this season. But there's going to be a fair bit of eyes on Arne Slot and his Liverpool side, considering they've made no transfers this summer. Look to another manager who'll be under the pump, and I think might be the first manager sacked in the Premier League is Enzo Maresca, coming across from Leicester City, bringing across Kieran Dewsbury-Hall and a bucket load of other players joining Chelsea as well. What's new? The club has had so much turnaround and turmoil. I think it's going to be a very uphill challenge for him to be successful at this football club. It seems like a very toxic environment, but if you can do that, fair play to Enzo Maresca, because it's a very tough job. You've also got Hansi Flick taking over Barcelona. Not many transfers. Obviously, Dani Olmo joins the club, but you've got Lamine Yamal. So had a very shaky in pre-season and with that invitational trophy against Monaco. But can Hansi Flick revolutionise Barcelona with the La Masia talent, the youthful talent, and get them to compete with the juggernauts Real Madrid this season? And obviously Thiago Motta coming to Juventus, they need a new start, and he might just revolutionise his side with fresh styles of football. So there's some of the key managers making moves this season. The other big storyline, who's going to be the shock for match day 1? Is it going to be a big loss for one of the Barcelonas or the Real Madrids in La Liga? Obviously, Girona get a decent draw versus Betis in the first match day as well. Can one of the big Premier League sides be knocked off? We obviously know Manchester United are gettable, Liverpool are gettable right now as well. Do Chelsea make a statement and beat Manchester City? So match day 1 coming into it, who's going to be the shock team to come out of it? I think if you look Premier League wise, I think we could see a massive result for the likes of a Crystal Palace or West Ham. These clubs are on the way up. They might be able to beat one of the big boys, and I wouldn't be surprised if Real Madrid struggle initially versus Mallorca, especially trying to acclimatise with all these new players, all the pressure around this side, and so much talent. It takes a while to mould that all together. They did it well enough in the Super Cup, but can they do it in the league versus Mallorca, which is a very difficult team to come up against last season? And our final point, Staying on Madrid, the big storyline coming to the weekend obviously looked fantastic versus Atalanta. As I said though, struggled in the first half to really break down the Italian side, but come the second half, you've got Bellingham assists, Mbappe's opening goal, Fede Valverde's goal, Vinicius Junior assist, Rodrigo heavily involved as well. This side is looking like a juggernaut, and we've seen the 11 they've got and put together, the depth they've got in the squad. It's going to be a very, very hard team to knock over. Ancelotti says there's no more business to be done. I don't think you can do any more business to this side. It's already arguably the best team that I've ever seen assembled since really watching and analysing a game of football. It's truly ridiculous and competes with one of those old school Milan teams and back in the day as well. So they're like a juggernaut. They will look to try and win the traditional treble for the first time this season with this squad they got together. You'd think the bare minimum would be a double this season, and they'd love to go and defend that Champions League crown. They're the key storylines as we come into the weekend. Let's jump into our social media summary. Football Twitter, football TikTok this week is all been about here we go versus here we land. And I've got a few clips up on screen.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka to West Ham, there we land.
Victor Osimhen to Chelsea, there we goon.
Kylian Mbappe to Real Madrid, here we skedaddle.
Tommy Fury and Molly May have broken up. Spread them legs.
Cole Palmer to re-sign at Chelsea. Big Mac meal, large Fanta.
Pedro Neto to Chelsea, come inside.
And it is blown out of proportion now. There is too many different rip-offs of the Fabrizio Romano. Here we go. But fair play to this young African kid, the journalist in the making. With Here We Land, it is blowing up, and I think he actually beat Fabrizio Romano to one post overnight as well. So the competition is there. The classic memes about Rio Ferdinand, just enjoy them, is going around as well. But he's made a bit of a name himself for this young man with Here We Land and competing with Here We Go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Are you a Here We Go? Are you a Here We Land man? Or are you something else? Let me know that in the comment section down below. But that has been the biggest news coming out of social media this week. Other news around, there's been a clip, I think, from one of the German sides coming out with a ball boy going up and touching Adama Traore's muscles. I can only wish to have the size of these muscles here. The kid just making sure that they are real. Sometimes wonder, how big can Adama Traore possibly get, and when is this guy going to give up football and start competing in Ironmans and modelling himself? Because these guys' muscles are ridiculously large, and this kid just had to go and make sure they were as big as what he's seen on TV. Other, I guess, more wholesome news from the world of social media: Swedish club Kalmar AIK all cutting their hair in solidarity for their team and Marcus Herman. Going through camps right now, a really feel-good story, which I saw the other day. Fair play to that club. That's why we love football, the togetherness, the community that it creates. So fair play to the Swedish club Kalmar AIK. And then finishing off with some recent news across social media that's come out. Premier League referees at the start of the season will release who their favourite clubs are. So this isn't, of course, chaos comes at the season start when we get a dodgy penalty call. Obviously, you know how Anthony Taylor's hated by Chelsea fans, but there'll be more of that coming out this season. You'd expect with the Premier League referees now making public their teams and their allegiances coming to the season. It's going to create all sorts of havocs and all sorts of memes come the season start in the Premier League. But that's all that's been going on in the world of social media across the last week in football. Let's now preview some of the big games that come from the weekend's action. We've got some big games to come this weekend, and one of the biggest is the German Super Cup. Champions Leverkusen take on second place side VfB Stuttgart in the German Super Cup. It's going to be a very interesting game. Leverkusen obviously lost their winning record, their unbeaten streak, last game of last season, going down to Atalanta in the Europa League. Will they try and start the season off with a bang and get it underway and restart an unbeaten streak with beating VfB Stuttgart here? It's going to be a very interesting game. We obviously know how good Leverkusen were last season. They've bolstered the side with the likes of Alex Garcia joining the side to bolster a midfield as well. Terrier up top as a winger option as well. And they look like quite a solid side with Jonathan Tah. Look like he's staying and not heading across to Bayern Munich. Look at BVB Stuttgart losing a lot of key players, Anton and Aito both going, but there's still some solid enough players in this side here, and they bring back Dennis Undav on the permanent despite losing his strike partner Seru Guirassy. It's going to be very exciting to see who comes out on top in this game here, but looking at the two sides, it looks like Leverkusen will be the side to back in for that one there. Obviously touching it previously as well, Liverpool and Ipswich kick us off the first game on Saturday in the Premier League, the midday kickoff. Arne Slot's first game in charge at Liverpool as he takes on newly promoted Ipswich and Kieran McKenna. So it's going to be a very exciting game of football. I predicted Liverpool to win the game. However, I wouldn't be surprised if Ipswich really cause an upset here early on. It'll be interesting to see how Arne Slot's Liverpool go if they concede first. Do they have that ability to come back like we saw so frequently from them last season? Looking across to Italy under Serie A, Juventus host Como in the first game of the season. Two very, very exciting clubs came from the Serie A. Probably the most interesting, Thiago Motta moving to Juventus and revolutionising the team, letting go of Wojciech Szczesny, wanting to get rid of Federico Chiesa, Adrian Rabiot as well. The new generation has started with Kefran Turan, Douglas Luiz in midfield. A very solid midfield group there. Koop Meiners seems to be coming as well to the club. They've started afresh and it'll be interesting to see how Thiago Motta can do. Obviously, he did so well with the Bologna side last season. Can he deliver with Juventus this year? Obviously, coming out against a Como side managed by Cesc Fabregas, the latest in a long line of Spanish managers dominating across all of the European leagues. They've got Pepe Reina and goal, Alberto Moreno. Big signing Rafa Varane is out, unfortunately, with an injury. But this Como side could cause some problems this year in Serie A. And I feel like it's going to be very exciting to see how they match up against an exciting Juventus side led by Thiago Motta. Looking to La Liga, we've got Valencia and Barcelona coming up on Saturday evening there. Barcelona, obviously the first game under Hansi Flick, the first time we see Dani Olmo play alongside Lamine Yamal in Barcelona colours. Barcelona, obviously the closest competitor to Real Madrid. Do they set their benchmark and can they get a strong result to start the season off, despite obviously looking like they're missing out on Nico Williams. He's got the number 10 and seems to be playing for Athletic Bilbao. So that should be their summer over in terms of transfers. Can they compete with Real, and have they got enough to compete with Real Madrid? That's the question we have to ask. They go up against a Valencia side looking to have another strong season, and at home Valencia can be a bit of a tough team to play against, so be interesting to see how that one all fares. And obviously the biggest game on the weekend, it comes on Sunday. It is Chelsea hosting Manchester City. What a game this one is going to look at to be. City's obviously coming off that Community Shield victory versus Manchester United on penalties. They've got the big squad together. I've predicted Haaland and De Bruyne to have fantastic seasons this year, and I feel like what a chance to get off the league and kick it off in the right way by getting a massive result versus a Chelsea side trying to push their way up in the Premier League. It's going to be a classic Maresca formerly worked under Pep Guardiola. He'll try and beat his former boss, and it'll be very interesting to see how both teams line up, especially Maresca bringing across his philosophy to Chelsea with a bucketload of players to go and use. And for Man City, with Savio, the new signing, and some familiar faces, can they once again go on and try and win a 5th straight Premier League and break the record, another record for Manchester City, being a team that win the Premier League for 5 times in a row. There are all the big games come from the weekend. Let's now jump into a few players to watch for the weekend's football action. The first player has to be Kylian Mbappe as Real Madrid take on Mallorca. Obviously scored in his first official appearance for the side in the Super Cup to beat Atalanta 2-0, but it'll be his first La Liga start coming up on the weekend, and everyone's interested to see how many goals can he score this season. Can he break any records? And what a chance to start versus Mallorca. They're going to be a very tough team to play against. But if anything is to go by his form to start off his life at Real Madrid, he's going to bag a couple in this game here. Vinicius, Rodrigo, Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, Fede Valverde, Tchouameni as well. It's a very stacked side, and you can imagine there'll be goals galore this season. How many goals does Kylian Mbappe score this season? Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. From there, we move to another signing at a new club. Nicolas Füllkrug's debut game for West Ham United. How does he go in that game as they take on Aston Villa? I said they've been crying out for a proper number 9 for some time now, and they've got that in Nicolas Füllkrug as he joined the side for a very reasonable fee, around 30 million euros. He's someone that's proven he can score goals. He's done it in the top tier in Germany and also done it in the Champions League. Can he revolutionise West Ham under Lopetegui and get off to a fantastic start there as they take on Aston Villa, and what will be one of the more underrated, exciting games to come from the weekend's action? And then Thirdly, the third player is Cole Palmer. Can he once again cause more pain to Manchester City, obviously scoring that fantastic late penalty versus them last season at the Bridge? Can he go and perform once again and cause Man City more problems? As I always say, Man City, if you want to verse them, on match day 1. They start the season off a little bit slower. Cole Palmer could cause some problems with Man City side and get Chelsea a famous win to start the season off. Wrapping it all up, coming to the end for the first episode here of the weekend warm-up. Let's go through the good, the bad and the ugly. What's going on for the world of football in the last week and coming into this weekend here. My ugly, Ligue 1 continues to have problems with the broadcasting rights. There is no rights currently across major parts of Europe and Africa as well as parts of Central Asia as well. Currently there is a boycott of DAZN in France as well. I believe €40 to watch every single game on the weekend per week. It was €5 per week just to watch one game of Ligue 1 a week. It seems ridiculous prices. Kylian Mbappe left the league and has turned the lights out on the league. I've said it a lot, Marseille have the ability to win the Ligue 1 this season with PSG looking a little bit more shaky. The league, though, is falling apart. I think PSG are their own victims of their own success. They dominate the league so much. No one wants to go to this league. It's become definitely now a farmers league in many regards, and the fact that the quality is not there, the eyes on the league will not be there. And as it currently stands, if you're any part of Europe outside of France, you cannot actually watch the Ligue 1 right now. Luckily enough in Australia, we still get access to watching the Ligue 1, but it's a league that is falling apart. So that's the ugly for me for this week. The bad is Chelsea's transfer strategy. Conor Gallagher returns to Cobham and to training with Chelsea, despite being in Madrid to complete the transfer a few days ago. Obviously, Chelsea's move fell down and fell apart for the previous transfer. Now they're looking to try and get João Felix. And I just feel for João Felix and Conor Gallagher, these people, in the end of the day, are human beings and they're being thrown around and thrown in transfer requests. Conor Gallagher's been barred from the main training squad at Chelsea, and it's just been handled really, really poorly and just a symbol of Chelsea as a club in general. They've been all over the place, and this transfer of Conor Gallagher, a player who was so valuable for them last season and performed fantastically well, has just been deplorable in my eyes. That's my bad from this week. Continue to be poorly treated. Conor Gallagher and Chelsea's transfer strategy seems to be just awful at the current point in time. The good is football is back. The Serie A is coming back. Ligue 1 is back. The Premier League is getting underway tonight. La Liga was getting kicked off last night. We've got the German Super Cup. Bundesliga comes back next week. The Football League is back. The EFL is back last week as well. It is so good to have football back and have weekends filled of football action. Really, really excited for that to come. That is my good for this week, for the weekend warm-up. With that being said, that brings our first weekend war episode to an end, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What are you most excited for to come from the weekend? It's a very, very exciting weekend. Football is back. Our Saturdays are packed. Forget your families. Football comes first this weekend, and it's very, very exciting to see that all. Also, let me know, guys, who's the big players to watch this weekend? What's your game of the weekend? Let me know that all in the comment section down below. And are you a here we go guy or are you a here we land guy? Let me know that all in the comment section down below. Hope you have a great rest of your day, guys. Enjoy the upcoming football action from the weekend. And I'll see you guys for the weekend warm-up, same time next Friday. Until next time, guys. See you later.